Welcome to the Lackawanna Coal Mine Tour. My name is Tom Soupy. I'm the mine foreman here, and I'm going to take you on a tour of the coal mine and show you how coal was mined for the last 150 years in the city of Scranton. Actually, we're under the city of Scranton right now. Taylor, the borough that's right next to it also. Coal mining was a very important industry for over 150 years, and we're going to show you some of the things that the men actually did underground for an 8 or a 10-hour day. Now we're going to start first by explaining what you see here is a small unscaled map, just sort of charting what the area looks like here. Now this is a basin that we're working and mining in, and it's called the Lackawanna Coal Basin. It's all of the coal situated in Lackawanna County, which runs from Duryea in the south up to Forest City up north. It's about 33 miles long and 7 miles wide. If you look here, you can see there's also 7 layers of coal. Some places more, some places less. 7 layers of coal here that was mined. And the first mining actually took place about 1850 down near Scranton, in the city of Scranton. They sunk a vertical shaft straight down, 528 feet deep, actually intersecting all these different veins. Now by doing that, they had access to all 7 veins at one time. So you had men working and coal being taken out of all 7 veins at the same time. Now as the area was opened up and developed, more shafts were sunk, and on the side of the mountains they sank a thing called a slope. That's what we came down. We rode down on a slope of about 26 degrees, and that comes right down and follows the pitch of the vein. It was called the 190 slope, and that's the name of the coal mine that we're now in. The red line you see running across the basin here is the actual main body of water. Now this came as a result of the mines being closed and the pumps being stopped. Many, many years ago when the mines were working, every mine was responsible for pumping its own water, and all the water was pumped to the surface, and in turn the whole basin was completely dry. As the mines began to close, less water was pumped, and the water level went from here all the way up to this particular level which you see right now. However, this will not get any deeper, this level, because of a large borehole that was put in right in the Lackawanna River down near Duryea. It was a 40-inch borehole drilled into the mines to let the water escape naturally so that the water would never build up and possibly break out somewhere, which might be a field or maybe even someone's basement. So this was very important that this be done, and it works very well. This was done back in the late 1960s. And it was very much needed to control the water level in the upper Lackawanna Basin, because all the water that comes out of that borehole comes from as far as Forest City, which is about 33 miles north of Scranton. Now in between each vein of coal is a seam of rock. You see the gray areas, that's the rock, the coal is above it. So we have rock, coal, rock, coal, rock, coal, just like a layer cake. If you look at it, you'll get a pretty good idea. You can see some of the various names of these veins here: the rock bed, the big bed, the New County, Clark, number 1, number 2, and number 3 Dunmore vein. These were the 7 veins that were used or mined right in this particular mine at that time. Now on the upper picture here, we have a simple illustration of how a coal mine is ventilated. We have a large fan which pulls air down the slope through the crosscuts, chambers, and gangways, and back out through the air shaft, and we'll see that towards the end of the tour. Now what you're looking at looks like a checkerboard, but it's a very simplified method of what's called the room and pillar method of mining. The areas in white are the rooms, the areas in black are the pillars of coal. And what this is coal that was left here for support. Now if you turn around, you can look and see some of the coal behind you. Those are coal pillars. Those pillars are approximately 25 feet thick, 60 feet long, left here just for support. Now what a lot of the coal companies did is they began to close the mine. They began to remove these existing pillars. They had a name for this process. They called it robbing the pillars. Now as they robbed the pillars and took them out, the mine literally caved in. Caved in underground, and it carried up to the surface, caused a condition called mine subsidence or mine caves. And we had lots of this in the anthracite basin. Even up until the present, sometimes a hole may appear due to rain or a large flood. Once an opening is found, sometimes a creek may open it up and you get these different voids. But actually it caved 25, 30 years ago But we're just seeing the results today because it didn't get out to the surface actually. Now this is called, once again, don't forget, the room and pillar method. It's a method of mining where it allows you to support yourself as you mine the coal. If you came down and just took the coal from wherever you wanted to, you'd cave the place in. So there's a set of rules and regulations by leaving so much coal, taking so much out. The wooden posts that I'm standing next to here are called props. The three-piece sets ahead are called timber. And these don't actually hold up the mine. What they're put in here for, they're put in here for to act as a warning device. How it works is right now there's no pressure on any one of these props. But if we were to come back tomorrow, take out all of the coal, the mine would cave in. By having these props in, as soon as you start taking too much coal out, the weight shifts to the props start to squash a little bit and take some weight, and that's a warning. You better stop taking the coal out of the place, it's going to cave. If you take a little more out, the prop starts to crack and pick. You take some more out, eventually the prop is going to squash and break. And when that happens, what happens? The mine just comes right down. But it gives you a good warning to get out. Without having these props in, you'd have no way of knowing any of this was going to happen until something actually fell and hit you. So the purpose of the props are to give you warning. Okay, let's move inside a little bit farther now. Now, if we were to go down there about 300 feet, we would come right to the flooded mine workings, and we would not be able to travel any further. However, 25 or 30 years ago, when the water level was way down and the pumps were pumping, you could walk down there and you could actually travel and go across the valley and come up on the other side over towards Route 81. So you'd be on the east side of the valley, and that would be about 7 miles. It would be one heck of a walk, but eventually you could do it. So the mines were really extensive in this area. Like I said, 7 miles wide, 33 miles long. Now, if you look up here, you'll get another idea of how the coal was mined by this method called the room and pillar method. If you look up here, you'll see a pillar of coal 25 feet thick, 60 feet long. On the other side, another pillar, 25 feet thick, 60 feet long. This chamber goes all the way up, and you'll see pillars on both sides. Every 60 feet, you'll see a crosscut broken through for an air connection, and also for another way and means of escape. That's all done according to the Pennsylvania law of mining, which we have to follow the same as an active mine. So this was an active mine a long time before it was a tour mine, but today we're still regulated and governed by the state, and we have to do everything else that has to be performed in an active coal mine. If you look right over here, you'll see one of those pillars of coal. You can see it's a pretty nice pillar, beautiful coal. Be great to heat your house with. I still burn coal in my house and heat it, and it's a tremendous heat. Very dependable and far cheaper than gas or oil. So you never know, we may be going back to burning coal in our houses someday. Every year it seems like a few more people go back to burning coal every year because it's dependable and the price is right. The only problem is, can they meet the demand that's going to be put on the industry? That's the only thing that scares me. Now, if you look up the ceiling, you'll see these pipes sticking out every so often. Those pipes used to hold up a solid bare copper wire called trolley wire. If you'll follow me in here, we'll take a look at the trolley.